Hello, hello there. Um, it's Adam White here. So, before we dive into today's video, I want to tell you one thing that motivated me to create this video. And one of the few reasons is that when I started learning, I wish someone had guided me through the process. So, after some time, I think I have finally realized that the fun is that no one will teach you how to do it or where to start, and the key to knowledge is by bringing the majority of what's out there on the horizon and the internet actually, and you gotta read all the resources out there and try to make your own. So yes, this is what I have done actually. So the key to knowledge for me was by trying to ask questions, and this is not your usual boring class, because if you are not that motivated actually, you can just hear my story and maybe you might just get inspired about what I just did. Um, so yes, so let me introduce myself. So my name is Muhammad Ali, uh, or actually Muhammad Ali Washani in Arabic. So I'm a student of Computer Networks and Telecommunication at the National Institute of Science and Technology of Tunisia. And I suppose I'm not just a student who is trying to attend classes. I'm a huge enthusiast of building programs and systems and everything in between. So, before we start talking about reverse engineering, just let me tell you my little story and how I got here. So, at first, I wasn't even interested in computer science and all this technology, and I was far away from all this until I started learning programming in high school. I started with a programming language called Pascal, which seemed like a dumb language for me at that time. However, I learned the majority of the basics of programming, from loops to anything anyone should learn when trying to fit themselves into this field. After a few months, I found out about something called Codeforces. Codeforces is a great platform actually for problem solving. You can just check out their website. I know the UI is pretty basic, but yes, it's actually really interesting to play in. So, in Codeforces, for those who do not know, Codeforces is a platform 1000. This video is not sponsored by Codeforces, but actually, this is one of the best websites that I have ever played in. So, Codeforces is a platform where thousands of problem solvers play. They give you a problem, and your job, for example, this problem. Okay, so they give you a problem, and your job is to solve it using coding. So, we don't have to dive into much details about how Codeforces works. You can just check it out. But I learned a lot just by coding solutions to this kind of problems. And to do that, I used a lot of C++ actually, which led me to switch from using Pascal to using C++. And since the C++ code was fast and rich in libraries that could help me solve the problems out there, and I have learned a lot of algorithms too that helped me to do that. Um, Compared to other programming languages on the platform, I have used C++ because it was fast, as I said, and because the libraries were available and the resources even out there where they have to explain the topics are in C++ too. So that's why I have learned C++, and it was a good opportunity for me to learn C++. So that was one of the best experiences I had in my life. I actually achieved several titles too, in problem solving competitions, and I think it shaped my whole future. So I encourage everyone to learn how to solve problems using programming, because you will almost always, I think always, face a problem when you have to write code to solve it. So yes, a few months after getting a title in problem solving competitions, a friend of mine was already ahead in CDFs that he told me about. like I didn't know at that time. Okay, I was knowing that CDF exists in this world, and I kind of know the whole subject about CDFs and all of that, but I wasn't even a player at that time. So this is how I found out about the field of security and reverse engineering specifically. So the first contact with security was trying to solve a simple web challenge like everyone. At that time, I was trying to solve it in RootMe. RootMe is a great platform to learn, okay, cybersecurity and all of that. So you can just make an account and try the challenges out there, which is actually really interesting. So yeah, at that time I started doing, I started playing challenges from RootMe, and like everyone else, I started with a simple web challenge where I have to check out the web page and the source code and all of that just to retrieve a flag from a comment, which is pretty basic thing. Anyway, until that moment, I didn't even know there was something called reverse engineering until I stumbled upon a video by someone called Live Overflow, which is a pretty famous YouTuber. You can check him out since I was always referring him whenever someone asks me about this subject specifically. So, Live Overflow has a lot of videos that I'm trying, like, not to mimic, but to make sense of them because the first time I have watched Live Overflow, I didn't understand a thing, to be honest. So, like, I'm trying now to make my videos set apart or be the version, or I don't know how to explain this properly, but um my videos that I'm trying to make will be explaining reverse engineering as if I were the same person a year and a half ago. So this means that we will be going step by step on the requirements needed and on the stuff that I wish I had known at that time when I started, which would have boosted my level much more better at that time. So, after that, just, okay, I said it's time to start playing CDFs. So I started playing CDFs with my team. That actually my team is called Suteria. You can just check it out also. Suteria CDF. Suteria is the name of our team. We are actually just a CDF team from Tunisia. Okay, we actually had a lot of CDFs 1 year half ago, and it was a great experience too. And we are still playing, by the way. Okay, so except that this time we are just having some pauses when we are playing. We were like usually playing each weekend. Now we are like just playing the official CDFs. But yes, we are still playing. So I started playing CDFs with my team, and I encourage everyone to play them. Um, some professionals I just think find it useless because they are just recommending to skip them and learn certificates and courses just to get themselves into the field of cybersecurity. But from my perspective, I find them actually challenging to play. However, I think it depends on which CDF you are playing. Because the question that can be asked here before I just complete my explanation about CDFs is that I didn't explain even the word CDF for people who do not know. CDFs are actually called capture the flag competitions. So what are capture the flag competitions? Um, CDFs or capture the flag competitions, and these competitions you are given a challenge such as the challenge that you can find in RootMe, and your job is to just try to analyze the challenges that will be given to you, and the challenges can be in the form of a web application, a program, an image, a small piece of graphic network, or a little, I don't know, cryptographic algorithm, maybe some encrypted data that you have to decrypt, And your job actually is to analyze the challenge you have, or let's just say reverse engineer it and understand how it works. So you either exploit the vulnerability it has and then retrieve the flag and submit it to the specific CDF platform just to get points that ensure um, you have a place on the scoreboard of all the teams. So I encourage everyone to play them since I learned a lot and a lot just by playing CDFs. And by the way, you can check just CDF time in case you don't know what exactly is CDFs and you want to play, I don't know, maybe you want to play CDF or something. So, for example, in this, you can find the past events or the past CDFs that happened. You can find also here the upcoming CDFs that will be coming on. And here you can check just the top rated players in the world or the top teams in the world. You can also find the upcoming events, as I said. And this is a write up section. Write ups are actually solutions of other people to challenges that have been played. So, for example, let's just say you are playing a challenge and you tried so hard to solve it. And meanwhile, you couldn't solve it. So actually, to have an understanding or to start learning how to solve a challenge, you gotta play a challenge and then, okay, it's okay if you get stuck, but the interesting point is that you have to read the write-up of the challenge in order to learn something new. So I highly recommend that you read write-ups of other people. And if you have solved the challenge, for example, let's say you are playing a web challenge and you have solved it. So good job on doing that. The next step is trying to write your own write-up about this challenge so that you track down all the steps that guided you to the flag, so it's actually a good experience for anyone. Um, so yeah, this is all about CDFs and specifically how you can play them. So let's now dive a little into the main subject, which is the reverse engineering. So for people who do not know reverse engineering, you can just try to Google it. Reverse engineering. So when you type reverse engineering, you get something like it's saying like sometimes called back engineering, which is a process in which software, machines, aircraft, architectural structure, and other products are deconstructed to extract design information from them. So often reverse engineering involves deconstructing individual components of larger products. What does that mean? Actually, just for the sake of the discussion, I can loosely define reverse engineering as a process of just understanding a system. Imagine you are having a system and you want to understand how it works. For example, let's say it's the human body, I don't know, your phone, your computer, your keyboard, your mouse, anything. You actually want to understand it. You will eventually, without any kind of intuition, actually, you will find yourself analyzing and eventually finding yourself reverse engineering the whole process. So this is basically what is happening. So it's a kind of problem solving process for me, and a system can be a hardware device, a software program, I don't know, a physical or chemical process, and so on. So the process consists of trying to, I don't know, either rebuild stuff from scratch, maybe, or try to understand how things behave, such as, I don't know, for example, malicious programs referred to as, I don't know, malwares if you know the name, or maybe just bypassing security that was built to protect the software, which we call them cracked, or cracking games, for example. Or maybe just breaking a cheating engine, for example, for video games, in which anti-cheat engineers exist. Actually, anti-cheat engineers are the one who are trying to defend, for example, a game or product from getting cheated on. For example, let's say you are playing Valorant, and the Vanguard application that you are installing when installing the Valorant, I'm sorry, is an anti-cheat program or an anti-cheat software that has a main job, which is just trying to defend your game from getting checked or defend you from other players or cheating on you. Yes, this is basically the whole stuff what is talking about. So maybe you are just trying also to protect yourself from softwares, or you are trying to protect yourself from getting cracked, or your softwares from getting cracked. That's also another thing you can learn just by trying to learn reverse engineering first. So now, why should someone start learning this? Well, clearly, first, I think it's because this kind of skill is highly required nowadays, and not everyone can do this. And I think it takes time to master it, and no one can call themselves a masters of reverse engineering until I think they have truly proved their ability to explain the abstract theories behind computers and systems. And I think there are few people who can truly understand how a machine behaves. I think that's our main goal for now, is to understand at least 1% or 2% of the whole computers and how they are behaving, how they are working, why the machine is doing this and not doing this, and a lot of other questions we will be asking. So, we will be asking, or we will be talking also about something that I think is very, very, very important, which are the requirements to learn such a field, which I wish someone just told me about before I started learning. Okay, one of the few requirements that are pretty obvious is programming. So having a good skill or good skills at programming will make you advance in a lot, much more better way than the other people are doing in this field. So, for example, if you tried more than one language and have a good understanding of data structures and algorithms, algorithms are actually optional, but having a good understanding of data structures can help you identify the data structures in the softwares you are trying to reverse engineer. So, data structures are really important. Knowing algorithms can help you whenever you are reviewing some code that will. Okay, you recognize some algorithms in the software you are trying to reverse, but algorithms still optional. It's okay if you do not know them. It's okay. You need also to be having a good understanding of how programs get executed in your computer, which eventually leads you to understanding topics such as, for example, operating systems, architectures, processors, etc., etc. So, and the last thing I think that is really, really important too is you need to be having a good understanding of how a binary got built. Because if you do not know how something got built, you cannot deconstruct it or reconstruct it, I'm sorry, from scratch. So the process is trying to getting backward from the final step to the beginning of step and trying to understand the whole stuff. So that's actually it's a kind of research that you are researching something you do not know. Um, just one last thing that I want to talk about in reverse engineering, and it's actually an advice from I think an organizer in the DEF CON CDFs. I don't remember exactly the name of the organizer, but yes, it's a good advice, and I think I should be throwing it, or I should be throwing this advice to you. The advice says actually is that the first two things that you should learn when trying to play CDFs or even trying to fit yourself in security in general um, is by learning reverse engineering and learning cryptography, because these two fields are like the pillars or the how do we say this, the basics of all what is happening around there. For example, you are now playing a web challenge. So in the web challenge, you are doing the whole steps, but at some step or at some point of the challenge, You may get a binary, or you may get something, or you may get, for example, a code that you need to analyze and reverse engineer it and understand each of the functions in the code, and you have to find a vulnerability in that code. So before trying to identify any kind of vulnerability, he said the first step is to reverse engineer what is happening. So reverse engineering isn't just a field that is on its own, I don't know, horizon or on her own box. Reverse engineering is everywhere. So once you learn reverse engineering, I think you should be able to go and explore other fields, like with more confidence or something like that. So basically, this is all you need to know to start this journey with me. And I think in the next video, we will be diving into the requirements that you need to know in order to at least understand how a computer works. And don't forget to subscribe and comment any kind of questions you have in your head. And see ya in the next video. Bye.